We survived. The Great Fire of December 2025, the Christmas Inferno, took the lives of 833 residents and, more importantly, decimated our town's economy. But, in spite of it all, our town lives on. Welcome back to Haddaway. I said, welcome back to Haddaway. In this episode, we'll move our industry out of the center of town, out to this newly completed industrial area here. That should give us plenty of room for some medium and high density housing, a nice memorial park, and maybe some facilities that'll help us prevent or manage future disasters. As you can see here, I had to build a lot of high density housing in a hurry in order to keep the town afloat, and I'm really not happy with it. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of it. And then we'll get rid of this too. And this. Now, because I have the Plot the Growables mod, dezoning isn't enough. I have to go back and manually delete the building. Our economy isn't back in the black just yet, and it'll probably take a hit from deleting all those buildings, so I'd better pause the game for now. Yes, I have to delete all of my custom parking lots as well. I actually decided that it would be appropriate to start by building a cemetery. It'll go right in here, I just have to delete this road first. And there we go. I actually think it would look a little better closer to the road. Now I'll just extend some of the surfaces, add some invisible paths and some landscaping, and there you go. A completed cemetery that fits right in. Obviously, housing is desperately needed, and we'll get to work on that in a minute. But the next thing I want to do is build a park to commemorate the 833 victims of the December 2025 fire. I'll start by finding the center of the park and creating a circular central plaza. Place a fountain in the middle of it, and add a nice tile surface. I'll then place some benches, taking care to make sure the colors match. 8 benches in total for the 800. Now, what about the 33? I'll plant some trees. Hickories fit well here. 3 in each corner. Then trash bins and lamps, and I'll use photo mode to see what it looks like in the evening. These paths are just too straight. Let's make them a little bendier. Placing light poles along these bendy paths using the line tool proved to be a bit of a challenge. As was making sure that they all match. In this corner of the park, I decide to make a custom playground, and I start by surrounding it with fencing and putting in this sand surface. These play sets are a good start. I'll put in one for the big kids and one for the little ones. I'll head over to the school playground for some inspo, but apparently the picker tool doesn't work inside of building upgrades. But in this standalone playground, it works just fine. Let's see what we've got here. And with the addition of a seesaw, a play shed, and a spinny thingy, our playground is complete. But what should we do with this space on the other side of the park? Maybe a gazebo? With a nice tile floor. And with that, we hit milestone 9, Great Town, which unlocks high density business. And after adding a few trees, our memorial park now looks like this. I want to surround the park with some fencing that matches the fountain. I just gotta get the right color variation. And fill in this gap with a park sign. For props like these, double-clicking the B key switches through the different variations. One last thing I want to do here is try using the extra networks and areas mod to add a park area here, but it doesn't seem to really do anything. Next, I want to move my huge fire station out to the industrial area, but I'll need to buy a few more map tiles and expand my road network first. I might as well buy these too and have a contiguous municipal territory. I think I'll extend northward from the original farms using the original measurements, 224 meters between roads. I'm always forgetting to flatten things out first before building. So pretty soon we go from this to this. Yes, I know our cargo train terminal isn't yet operational because it doesn't have any vehicles, and it doesn't have any vehicles because I haven't built a train depot yet. As for our large fire station, we'll move it out of the center of town to a spot just off the main road near the industrial area. Now on to housing. Maybe some large row houses, with plenty of parking in the middle, of course. To make room for more, we'll move the post office right onto Glengarry Road. I opted to make these row houses a little smaller with another custom parking lot, and extended this row of small North American medium density buildings right to the end of McMillan Street. And it looks like our town might, no, never mind. At this point, I remembered that it's not usually the entire playground that's covered in sand, just the part where the kids are actually playing. Usually around the outside, it's kind of grassy where the parents sit. I think I'd be okay with some slightly larger 3x3 medium residential on the other side of McMillan Street here. I'll stick to level 1 because I want to make sure the residents can actually afford the rent. We don't need to leave so much space for parking with these because they have their own indoor parking garages. We can just put some grass and trees in between. But we better upgrade this road since it's now part of a medium density residential neighborhood. We can add some more commercial zoning along Campbell Boulevard. But I want to keep them pretty small for now and avoid having a vast expanse of parking lots, as realistic as that might be in some towns. I think I want to place a college. Not that we really need one or can afford one, but I think it looked pretty cool. Yeah, right here, right across from Memorial Park. And I'll even add a library upgrade. And maybe a good old American college football field, so our students can damage each other's brains. No, that'd be overkill. I could go for some hedges, though. And some paths. And let's rename this Memorial College. And the Fraser-Campbell District becomes Memorial Park, if I can spell it properly. Now we need housing for all those college students. North American medium density is fine for one side of the street, but next to the college we'll go with European and make sure the colors match. I think we can squeeze in a laneway in the middle here for our low-rent housing development. I eventually decided to move residential off of Campbell Boulevard to leave room for commercial zoning. I'll try to taper down to some low-density residential, but there isn't really any demand for it right now. At some point, I think my graphics settings were reset, and all of a sudden, the clouds are going crazy. Like I said, let's go with commercial zoning here. We'll try North American high density on one side and European high density on the other. And we can relocate our park maintenance building onto Fraser Boulevard. Let's build a laneway here so that we can place our radio mast right behind it. I don't know. I think these North American high-density commercial buildings are just a little too high. They look more like mixed-use buildings to me. Our town is once again making money, but don't get your hopes up. It won't last very long. And it looks like many of the large industrial warehouses that we placed have been abandoned. In the last episode, I showed off how to create supernodes at intersections, but for some reason I didn't apply that method here, and this is the intersection that probably most needs it. And now that we have one large intersection, we can widen the turns for our heavy traffic using the Move It mod. Maybe we can save some money by deactivating buildings we don't need right now? Back in town, I think we'll divide the Memorial Park District in two. And instead of Myrtle Springs, we'll just call it the College District. Again, if I can spell it right. District. As you can see, our town is still bleeding money, and I'm starting to wonder if we'll ever be solvent again. Meanwhile, back in our industrial park, it looks like our abandoned warehouses have been replaced by factories, but I don't really want a factory here. So I'm going to use Find It to try to place another warehouse. And I'm not sure what this thing is or what it's doing here, but this should be a warehouse also. Now I'll place some towers along Fraser Boulevard to try to satisfy some of the demand for high-density residential. And here we've got someone working out. Way to go, Haley Raleigh. Or Haley Raleigh. Anyway, I'll add some medium density as well, and it looks like our finances may have finally turned a corner, maybe? I've decided that I no longer like this row of houses that I snuck in here, so I'll just get rid of it. And yeah, it looks like our economy is doing pretty okay. I've decided that things here look just a little too uniform, and I want to mix up the building heights a little bit, but where to put this without undoing all of my hard work? Over here. Perfect. So here we have the College District in the foreground and Memorial Park District behind it. Oh no, another forest fire. I'm not ignoring these anymore. This brings back some painful memories, but it looks pretty far away, so let's calm down. No, I don't have enough money for another large fire station, but let's take a look at disaster control. How about some small emergency shelters? They hold 1,000 people each, so a few of those should be enough. I just gotta go into the progression tree to unlock them. One development point isn't bad. But first, I think I'll add another fire watchtower at the edge of the forest, near the cargo train station, and place a small path going up to it. Ah, another fire. No, you know what? This time, I'll just make sure I have the Anarchy mod activated and delete it. There, problem solved. So, I've added my first emergency shelter next to the small firehouse in town. I wonder if we can see inside. Our second one can go in this little space near Memorial Park, as the first is already having supplies delivered. And good luck to this truck getting out. Yeah, okay, that's one way to do it. And a third shelter for the College District can go behind the post office. The Industrial District should probably also have its own emergency shelter, but I realized that I never actually made it a district. There we go, Glengarry Industrial Park. Except, I feel like they wouldn't call it an industrial park. I feel like they would call it a business park. So we've got a couple of problems here. One of them is all of the high rent icons in our business park. And the other is this traffic backup caused by the at-grade railroad crossing. We'll have to grade separate these eventually, but 3 cars and a motorbike got through there. So that's not really so bad. Anyway, we'll place a 4th emergency shelter here and nudge it over using Move It. And this delivery truck is really struggling. One last thing before wrapping up this episode, I want to take a look at our park coverage. Click on the leisure icon here and Shift W to get our info view back. And yeah, we can see that we definitely don't have enough parks. There's a lot of red on this map. So yeah, let's take care of that before we go. A large playground up here will attract students and faculty members with young families to this corner of the College District. We'll just nudge that over like so. The intersection of Maple Street and Campbell Boulevard could use a nice plaza. Remember that our large memorial park doesn't actually count as a park. Where else do they most need a park? Maybe up here? So yeah, we'll put one of these small 2x2 playgrounds on this side of Campbell Boulevard and one on this side. And before we go, we'll just rename this small plaza near Memorial Park to Palestine Plaza because, well, free Palestine. So that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. And if you've made it this far, you may want to consider liking, subscribing, or sharing your thoughts in the comments below. The Extra 3.0 mod just came out, and I'm looking forward to playing around with that and all the new textures. But I was thinking of taking a break from Haddaway and working on other things when this happened. A bug that keeps me from collecting taxes from my industrial and office zones. And then when I tried loading an autosave, things got even worse. I found myself unable to collect any taxes at all. So yeah, now seems like a good time to take a break from Haddaway, but stay tuned for my next video. I'm Pylon John. Until next time, I already said it, but free Palestine.